I'd like to wish happy birthday to Isabella Woodhouse as well. My two turn 10 next week. Mr Speaker, we have a responsibility as Members of Parliament to talk about the things that really make an impact on people's lives and try and make a difference to them for the better. And I genuinely believe that most members here have a set of beliefs and a set of standards that have brought them here and about making a difference. And it's how to make the difference that really sets us apart, not the motivations nor the characters of the people in Parliament. And right now, despite what you might read and see in the media, the important things are about the cost of living and people making ends meet. Whether families have got jobs that they can depend on will be here in the short term. Whether the income that they have, whether it's from a job or from super, will be enough to pay their everyday bills, let alone the unexpected ones. And if they're unemployed, that they can also make ends meet and have the opportunity to get a job. Getting through the winter and being able to pay their electricity bills and having a decent house to live in that keeps them warm and dry. And I've been having a lot of conversations recently with people in my electorate about the recent budget and what impact it's going to have on their lives, and I've been scratching my head at the so-called polls that support it, because I haven't found anyone who thinks they're going to be better off. Such as the discussion that I had a couple of weeks ago with a woman in her 30s in my electorate in Dunedin who runs her own beautician business, and her husband's a self-employed builder. They've got two little kids in early childhood education 3 days a week, and they've calculated that their tax cut will get easily absorbed by rising prices through GST. GST price hikes are going to hurt them, not only them personally, but also they know it's going to hurt their businesses. They've calculated, they're both worried about having to increase the GST on prices in their businesses, and they know it's not going to be popular with clients. But one of their biggest worries is what's going to happen to the cost of childcare for their children. And the woman that I spoke to said that she's only recently returned to work and that was necessary because of the need for two incomes to pay the mortgage. And she's very happy with the early childhood education that her kids are receiving, and she knows that if childcare prices go up, or if the centre can't afford to offer 20 hours of free ECE, then she'll have to give up her job. And she feels between a rock and a hard place and doesn't know what the government's trying to achieve. And she asked me, do they want me to stay at home and not to work? Do they not agree with early childhood education? Are they trying to keep families like us from getting ahead? Do they want us to end up having to sell our home because we can't afford to pay it off? Why give us a tax cut when we're being slugged in so many other ways by rising costs? And will my mortgage rate go up, interest rate go up next year as well as inflation rates rise? They're all really good questions, because she knows that inflation of nearly 6% will destroy most of the tax cuts. People just won't be compensated for the GST rise. So where are all these people who are going to be better off? And in the last few days in Dunedin, we hear that Contact Energy is going to raise its electricity prices by almost 10% next month. I don't know how many members on the other side of the House have heard the term fuel poverty, but it's a recognised term for people whose fuel bills... it's right, Mr Mallard, it is very cold in Dunedin at the moment. It's a recognised term for people whose fuel bills are more than 10% of their income. And in New Zealand, a conservative estimate is that 14% of households, and possibly more people, are living in fuel poverty because they can't afford to heat their houses. And in Dunedin South, my electorate, during winter, electricity bills are commonly $200 a month for the poorest people and up to $400 a month for many families, which is unsustainable, and a 10% increase is ridiculous in the current environment. And let me tell you what Jerry Brownlee's response is to Contact Energy's announcement. Shop around, he said. Change power companies. What a great response by government. And it's even more interesting given that John Key just a couple of weeks ago actually admitted that National's version of the emissions trading scheme would add 5% to the household power bills. I got a letter from Contact Energy a few days ago telling me about pending price rises that might impact some of my constituents.
Order. The time for